Good morning to all. Today we are going to see about that is our third topic in database, that is SQL integrity constraints. Okay. In the last class we have seen that is a relational algebra. So which means that the relational algebra is a procedural query language that works on relational models. Okay. The purpose of the query language is that is retrieve the data from the database and perform the various operations such as insert, update and delete on the data. Okay. Next, we have seen that is what are the operators are used that relational algebra. Okay. That is select operator and then project operator and then union, set difference and Cartesian product, and last one is a rename. The first select project and rename, so that is comes under the unary relation, that is one relations. When you are using unary, that is indicating the one relations. Okay, and then the rest of three, that is union, set difference and then Cartesian product, that is comes under the that is binary relation, that is a two relations. Okay, so today we are going to see about that is a SQL integrity constraints. Okay. Okay, what is my integrity? So integrity is the data quality. Okay, constraint means there is a condition. Okay, the integrity constraints are set of the rules. It is used to maintain the quality of the informations. Okay, integrity constraints ensure that the data insertion, updating, and other process have to performed in such a way that the data integrity is not affected. Okay, so data integrity. So data integrity means the correctness or accuracy of the data in a database. Okay, the database may have a number of integrity constraints, that is the keys, not null, unique, and check and default. Okay, these are the constraints that we have to use in that integrity constraints. Okay. Why the need of this integrity constraints? Okay, the many user enter the data items in a database becomes very important that the data items and then associations among them destroy. Okay, therefore the data insertion, updating and other process have to be performed in a such a way that the data integrity is not affected. Okay, for this integrity checks are made at the data level by checking the value to certain specific rule. So that integrity constraints can be divided into the following two types, that is a column level constraints and then table level constraints. When you are using the column level constraints, that is describe the limit only the column data. Okay, when you are using a table level constraint, that is the limit whole that table data. Okay, when you are using a column level constraint, that is limit us the only the column of the data. Okay, when you are using a table of the constraints, that limit us the whole table of the data. The constraints are used to make sure that the integrity of the data is maintained in the database. Okay, the following are the most used the constraint that can be applied to the table. So already told so some because the database may have a number of integrity constraints are used. For example, okay, so that is a not null. Okay, not null constraints restrict the column from having the null value. Okay, so when you are using a not null constraints, okay, restrict the column from having a null value. So not null means the not null constraint enforce the column to not accept the null value. Okay, now when you are using a not null constraints, enforce the column to not accept the null value. Okay, and example, suppose we are taking the student table. Okay, so consider the student table. So when you are creating the student table, okay, by using the DDL comment, okay, the create table student. Okay, in this way you have to create the table, right? That is the syntax of the creating the table. So create table is the keyword. You must put the create table. Then you are going to give the name to a table. So that name can be anything. For example, if you are taking the student means, then give the student. Suppose you are taking the employee means, give that employee name here. Okay, instead of the student. Okay, the create table student, and next we are going to give the field name to the given a table, that table name as student. Okay, that is student ID, and then integers are data types. Okay, and next we can call the second field name, that is a name. Okay, student name. So that name should be a character, so that we can call the varchar here. And next, that varchar should be not null, because why we are using this not null here? That is to restrict the column from having a null value. So what is null value? The null represents the value for the attributes. Okay, that is currently unknown or is not applicable for this tuple. Okay, nulls are always to deal with incomplete or exceptional data. Okay, so null is empty. Okay, when you are giving a not null, that column should not be empty. That is the meaning of this one. Okay, when you are giving this that not null will comes here, that is a name field. Okay, when you're creating the table, okay, so that is a student table. In that student table having a student ID, name, and then age. Okay, we are going to give not null in a name of the field. Okay, when you are giving the not null in this field, that field should not be empty. Okay, this is the meaning of this not null constraints. Okay, next one is the unique. Okay, unique constraints ensure that the field or column will only have a unique values. Okay, which means that the unique means the unique constraints ensure that all the value in the columns are different. Okay, that is the meaning of that unique. Here also taking the student table. So in that the student table, the student ID. Okay, the student ID should be unique. Okay, and then the name, that is not null, and then age, that is integer. Okay, and next let's say about the primary key. So primary key, what is my primary key? So the primary key constraint uniquely identify the each record in a table. Okay, the primary key must contain the unique values and cannot contain the null values. Okay, when you are using the primary key, okay, when you are using the primary key in a table, the primary key must contain a unique value and cannot contain the null value. And the table can have only one primary key, which may consist of the single or multiple fields. Okay, the table can have only the one primary key, which may consist of the single or multiple fields. Okay, so look at this example. So in a student table, the student ID should be a primary key here. Okay, and next one is a foreign key. The foreign key is used to relate the two table. Okay, the foreign key constraint is also used to restrict the action that would destroy the link between the tables, which means that the foreign key is a key used to link a two table together. Okay, the foreign key is a field in a one table that refer to the primary key in another table. Okay, when you are using the foreign key in a table, so the foreign key is a key used to link a two table together. Okay, the foreign key is a field in a one table that refer to the primary key in another table. Okay, what is the syntax of this foreign key? Okay, when you are using this foreign key, you should follow some syntax to write the code in a database. Okay, first we are going to give the field name. Okay, field name, and then the field name followed by the data types. Okay, so after giving the data types, should put the reference. Okay, reference. Okay, when you are using a foreign key, should put the reference in the syntax. Okay, after putting the reference, we can call the parent table, because when you are using a foreign key, is a key used to link a two table together. Okay, the foreign key is a field in a one table that refer to the primary key in another table, so that we can call the parent key parent table here. Okay, we have to link a two table together. Okay. Okay, next let's see the example. So here the create table, that is the order detail, is our table name. Okay, in that table name, that is the order details. Okay, order details, order ID is a primary key, and then order name, that is a character, and the key is not null. Okay, and then next one is a CID int, the foreign key reference. Okay, the syntax as first we should put that as a field name, data types, and we should call the reference. When you are using a foreign key, we should call the reference, then the parent key of the previous table, that is our customer detail is that is one more another table. Okay, customer details is another table. Okay, and by using that unique IDs, C underscore ID. Okay, the foreign key is a key used to link a two table together. The foreign key is in a field. Foreign key is a field in a one table that refer to the primary key in another table. Okay, that is meaning of the primary key. Okay, next let's see about the check constraints. Okay, check constraints used to limit the value. Okay, limit the value range that can be placed in the column. Okay, the check constraints used to restrict the value of the column between the range. Okay, that is a check constraints used to limit the value range that can be placed in the column. Okay, so look at this example. They create the table, then student. Okay, so in that student, we are going to use that check constraints in this table. That is a create table student. Okay. So consider the student table. So that is in a student table having a register number, name, marks, and then attendance. Okay. So here we are going to use the integrity constraint in this table, that is a student table. Okay. What are the integrity constraints are we have to used? Okay. So look at here. That is student name should be not null, and then no student register number must be a same. Okay, unique register number needed. Okay, the student mark will be 0 by default. Okay, the student attendance should be greater than 75. So these are our constraints. These are our conditions. Okay, so let's see the example of this. So when you're using a not null, okay, when you're using a not null, if the particular field should not be left empty, should not be empty, okay. So that is our conditions, okay. When you're using a not null, that particular field should not be left empty, okay. Look at this example, that is a table, okay. Create table and then student, okay. Here we are going to use the register number that should be integer and then name. So name should be a varchar, and here we are going to use this not null constraint here, and then the marks that should be a integer and the attendance should be a integer. Okay. Why we are using this not null here? This field should not be empty when you are inserting the value. Okay, when you are inserting the value. The next one is a unique. So the register number for the two students should not be same. So when you are using a unique, what is the concept of that? The unique constraints ensure that all the value in the columns are different. Okay, look at this example, that is a student table. Okay, in a student table, the register number should be unique. Okay, so which means that the value ensure that all the value in the columns are different. Okay. Here, so that is a primary key. The primary key can be set to the table to uniquely identify the tuples. The primary key is a primary key constraints uniquely identify the each record in a table. The primary key must contain the unique values, cannot contain the null values. The table can have only the one primary key, which may consist of the single or multiple fields. Okay, so look at this example, that is the student table. In a student table, the register number should be a primary key, and then character, that is a name, should be a not null. Okay, when you are using a not null, that field should not be empty. When you are using a primary key, okay, the primary key must contain a unique value and cannot contain the null values. Okay, the table can have only one primary key, which may consist of the single or multiple fields. Okay, the primary key values helps in the uniquely identify the every row in a table. Thus, if the users of the database want to return the any row from the table or performance any actions on that table, they must know the value of the key for that row. Hence, it is necessary that the primary key should not have a null value. Okay. The next one is a default. So default constraint used to provide the default value for the column. Okay, to provide the default value to the attributes or column. Okay, both are same. Okay, here we are going mark value to be 0. Okay, this is our question. Okay, to give the marks value should be, to be 0. Okay, look at this student table. So when you're using a default, okay, at the time of the column creation, the default value can be assigned to it. When the user is loading the record with the values and leave it this columns empty, because the database administrator will automatically load this column with the default value specified. The data types of the default value should match the data types of the column. Okay, you can use the default classes to specify the any default value you want. Okay, when you are using a default, the database administrator will automatically load this column with a default value specified. Okay, so our query is to give the marks value to be 0 in a student table. Okay, in a student table, the register number should be primary key, and then the student name should be an ordinal, and then marks, that is a marks value to be a 0. Okay, when you are giving by the default, database administrator will automatically load this column with a default value specified. Okay, the data types of the default value should match the data types of the column. Okay, and next one is a check constraints. So check means that is to ensure if the attributes value has specified the specific conditions. Okay, check constraints define the condition that the every row must satisfy. Okay, check means that is a, check the rows or any attributes or a column. Okay, check means the check constraints define the condition that every row must satisfy. So there can be more than one check constraints on the column. Then the check constraints can be defined at the column as well as the table level. Okay, so there can be more than one check constraint on the column. Then the check constraints can be defined at the column as well as a table level. Okay, check constraints means that is define the condition that every row must satisfy. Okay, so there can be more than one check constraints on the column. The check constraints can be defined at the column level as well as the table level. Okay, so our query is to check if the attendance should be greater than 75. Okay, this is our query. For this we have to create the table. Okay, so look at this table. There is a student table. In a student table, the register number should be primary key, and the name should be an ordinal, and then marks, that is a default. Okay, so these are already told in the previous slides. So this is our new, that is our current check constraints. Okay, that is the attendance should be a check. Okay, check the attendance. Okay, should be greater than 75. Next one is a restriction. Okay, next is restriction, the value. So that is indicated by all and distinct keyword. Okay, so for that we have to create the one table, that table name is location. Okay, so in that location table having a name and then city. Okay, so that is a two field of this location table. In that name field having the names, and then the second field, that is a city field having that is a cities. Okay, so our question is select the city from the location. The location is our table. Okay, so city, select the city. This is our query. Okay, our query is select the cities from the locations. We have to retrieve the city alone from the table. That is our table name is location. Okay, so for this we have to write the query. So select all. Okay, select the all city from the locations. We need only the city. Okay, because that location has a two field name. In that field name we need only the city. So that this is our question. Okay, this is our query. So that we have to write the query for this. So that is a syntax as select all the city from the locations. Okay, after giving this syntax we are getting this record, that is a city records only can display on the output screen. Okay, when you are giving this commands, there is a select all city from the locations. Okay, so next one is a distinct. Okay, you have seen that is a all. Okay, so now we have to see the distinct. Okay, so we have to take the same table, that is a location. So in that location having two columns, name and then city. Okay, our question is to know, so what are the places from which persons are coming. Okay, by using the distinct keyword. Okay, so queries select the distinct cities from locations. Why we are using distinct? We need only the unique value. So, okay, eliminating the repeated values. Okay, when you are using a distinct, the eliminating the repeating words and displaying only the unique value in a table. Okay, that is a concept of the distinct. Okay, when you are using all keywords, that is displaying the entire, I mean, field value of the record. Okay, when you are using a distinct, that is, I mean, showing only the distinct value of the given the record. Okay, select the distinct city from the location, because our question is so to know what are the places from which persons are coming. Okay, from which the persons are coming. Okay, select the distinct city from the location. After giving this command, we're getting the output like this. Okay, that is a city. Okay, here the city is having a SVKS, here SRI. So SRI will repeat 2 times. Okay, and then it comes in 2 times, and then RJPM, and then SVKS, and then RJPM, and then VNR. Okay, so when you're using a distinct, the eliminating in the repeating rows and only displaying the, I mean, the unique record in the table. Okay, next let us see about the GATE questions, and the following question has been asked in the previous GATE exam. So let's see that. The first one is a create a table employee. Okay, create table is a syntax of the create command, and give the any name to our table name. That name is employee. Okay, in that employee table having an employee ID, so that ID should be numeric, and also using the constraint as not null, and the name. So name should be varchar, and the department should be var, and then varchar, and salary should be a numeric, and also using the, I mean, constraint as unique. Okay, and next after insert, after creating the table, next we have to insert the value to the given the table name. Okay, for that we can call the insert command. So insert command is comes under the DML operations. When you are using a create command, that is comes under DDL command. What is my DDL? That is a data definition language. Okay, when you are using a DDL command, which is used to create, alter, rename, and then drop commands. So these are the commands are done in DDL operations. When you are using a DML, okay, that is used to insert, delete, update. Okay, these 3 commands are used in a DML commands. Okay, so the insert comes under the DML operation. So that the syntax of this insert is insert into our table name. So our table name is, that is employee. So give the table name here, and then call the, I mean, keyword. When you are using insert, the value is the keyword of the insert. Okay, so that you have to give. Okay, give here. Let us insert into, this is a syntax, and then table name. Your table name is employee, and then the keyword is value to the insert. Okay, next we can put the value to the respective field name. So already you created in the created table, right? Okay, that is an employee table. Okay, in the employee table, the first field name, that is an employee ID. For that we are going to give the 1002. Okay, next field name is, that is a department. So that we are going to give that value, that is a rows. Okay, next one is a salary. Okay, first one is an employee ID, and then name, and then third field name is a department, and then fourth one is a salary. Okay, so that is a 1002, and then the employee name is, the name is Rose, and then the department name is CSE, and the last one is a salary. So that the salary is a 10,000. Okay, next we have to insert the one more value to given the table. So that again we can call the insert command here. So that is the insert into employee values, and then and give the value to the respective field name. Okay, already which you created already. Okay, 1006, and then date finance. Okay, next one is insert into employee values, then 1002 Rita sales, and then 20,000. Okay, our question is, what will be the result of the queries? Okay, so options are, all the statement is executed, and error in the create statement, and error in the insert into employee values 1006 debt, and then finance, And the last option is error in insert into the employee values, 1008 in the row sales and then 20,000. Okay, what is the syntax of the insert? The insert into employee table name and then values. Okay, when you are using the insert command, when you are inserting the value in the given the table, you should follow the rules to write the, to insert the value. Okay, how they declared in a create table? They declare first the employee ID and then employee name and then department name and last one is a salary. So in this way we have to insert the value to the respective field name. Okay, how they declare, the same way we have to insert the value to given the table name. Okay, that is, so here in a create table they have used the 4 field name. Okay, here, okay, in a second insert into the employee table, the second row, they have only the 3 values. In a create table having a 4 field name, but they inserted the 3 values. So that the option is C. The error in the insert into the employee values, the 1006 debt and then finance. Okay, so we're getting the error because the syntax is wrong. Okay, when you are creating the table, so then a created table having a 4 fields, in a insert table having a 3 values. So that is a different. Next question, in SQLs, the relation can contain the null value and comparisons with the null values are treated as unknown. Okay, suppose all the comparisons with null values are treated as false. Which of the following pair is not equivalent? Okay, so question is, in SQLs, the relation can contain the null value and comparison with the null values are treated as the unknown. Suppose all comparison with null values are treated as a false. Okay, which of the following pairs are not equivalent? Okay, the options are x is equal to 5, not, and open and braces, not x is equal to 5. Okay, the option D, x is equal to 5, comma, x greater than 4 and x less than 6, where the x is the integer. The option C, x less than 5, not x is equal to 5. The none of above. The answer is C, because doesn't need the much explanations for this. Okay, for all the values smaller than the 5, the x less than the 5 will always be true, but the x is equal to 5 will be a false, because they are using the null value. So null means that is a empty. Okay, null represent the value for the attribute that is currently unknown. Okay, it is not applicable for this tuple. The nulls are always to deal with the incomplete or exceptional data. Okay, so that the answer is the C, x less than the 5 and then not x is equal to 5. Next question, the relation book. The book is a table name. Okay, in that book table contains the title and then prices of the different books. Assuming that the no two books have the same price, what does the following SQL queries list? The question is the relation book. The book is a table name. That book contains the title and then prices of the different books. That the title and prices is a field name. Okay, assuming that the no two books having a same price, and what does the following SQL queries list? Okay, they given select the title from the book as the B. B is the object of the book, where the select the count asterisk from the count of the asterisk from the book as the T, where the T dot price greater than B dot price less than the 5. The options are the title of the 4 most expensive books, the title of the 5th most inexpensive book, and then option C, the title of the 5th most expensive book, and then option D, the title of the 5 most expensive book. Okay, the answer is D, because they're using the subqueries. So what is the subqueries? The subqueries is a SQL query within the queries. If the queries that contain the another query, then the query inside the main query is called as a subqueries. The main query is known as a parent queries. Okay, so the subquery is a query. Okay, that is a query. If a query that contains any other queries, Okay, if queries that contain the another query, then the queries inside the main query is called as a subqueries, and then the main query is known as the parent queries. In Oracle, the subquery will executed on the prior basics, and then result will be available to the parent queries. Okay, which means that the query execution start from the innermost query to the outermost queries. The execution of the inner queries is independent of the outer queries, but the result of the inner query is used in the executions of the outer queries. For this, we are going to use some operator that is in, not, in, any, all. Okay, here, so you know the concept of the subqueries. Subquery is queries. If the queries that contain the another queries, then the queries inside the main query is called as a subqueries. Okay, the main query is known as a parent queries. Okay, so when the subqueries uses the value from the outer queries, the subquery is called as a correlated subqueries. Okay, the correlated subquery is evaluated once for the each row processed by the outer queries, which means that the execution of the inner query is independent of the outer queries. Okay, the execution start from the innermost queries to the outermost queries. Okay, the outer queries select all the title from the book table. For every selected book, the subqueries return the count of those books which are most expensive than the selected book. Okay, then the var classes of the outer query will be true for the 5 most expensive book. Okay, for example, the count will be 0 for the most expensive book, and then count will be 1 for the second most expensive book. Okay, so the option is D. Okay, that is a title of the 5 most expensive book. Okay, next one, that is, consider the relation enroll. Enroll is a table name. Okay, enroll, the field name is student and then course, in which the student and course is the primary key. Okay, so the enrolled is our table name. Okay, in the table name having a field name that is a student and course, in which the student and course is the primary key. Okay, the relation paid, the one more table that is named as a paid. Okay, the first table is enrolled and then second table is paid. Okay, in the paid table having a two field, that is a student and then amount, where the student is the primary key. Okay, assume no null values and no foreign key and or integrity constraints. Okay, give the following 4 queries. Okay, so they given the two table, they named as enrolled and then paid. In the enrolled table having a student and then course. Okay, that is a field name of the enrolled table, and then the paid table having a two fields, that is student and then amount. Okay, the student should be a primary key. So assume no null value, no foreign key or integrity constraints. Okay, so the query 1, the given the query 1, that is select the student from enrolled where the student in. Okay, so they using the subqueries. Okay, that is the queries, that is the nested queries. Okay, so when you are using the nested queries, the query execution start from the innermost query to the outermost queries. The execution of the inner query is independent of the outer queries. The result of the inner query is used in the executions of the outer queries. For this, we have to use some operator. Okay, operator to join them together. Okay, that is a in, not, in, and then any, all. Here we are going to use the in, that is to join a two table together, so that they using the in operator. Okay, so the select the student from the enroll where the student in. Okay, next, that is a innermost queries, that is when you are using the subqueries, that is enforced within the braces, parentheses. The subqueries must be enclosed with the parentheses. Okay, look at this parenthesis. This is a subqueries. Okay, that is the innermost queries. Okay, that is enforced with the parentheses. Okay, select the student from enrolled. Enrolled is your table name, and then where is the condition, and then the field name is student. Okay, student, and we can call the operator. Then only we can join the two table together. Okay, so that is the in operator. Then we can write the innermost queries. First we have to write the innermost queries. First we have to find the innermost queries. Then we have to find the outermost queries. Okay, so look at this braces. So when you are using the subqueries, that is must be enclosed with the parenthesis. Okay. The select the student from the paid. Paid is the another table. The one they given the two table. One the named as the enrolled and then paid. Okay. You select the student from the enrolled where the student in. Okay. Next select the student from the paid. Okay. First we have to find the selected. Okay. In these queries. Okay. Next one is the query 2. Select the student from the paid where the student in. Then select the student from the enrolled. Okay, here first they find out the student from the enrolled. After that they find out the student from the paid in a query 2. In a query 1, first they find out the student from the paid. After that they find out the student from the enrolled. Okay, in a query 2, first find out the student from enrolled. After that find out the student from the paid table. Okay, in a query 3. Okay. In the query 3, they given the select the E dot student from the enrolled E. Okay, E is the object of the student. I mean that is the enrolled table. Okay, so okay, select E dot student from the enrolled E. The E is the object of the enrolled table. So that given like this. Okay, so and the P, the paid for paid, we are going to give the object that is P. Okay, they given the object P for the paid table. Okay, the paid P where the E dot student is equal to P dot student. Okay, this is a query. Okay, query 3. Okay, next let's see the query 4. The select the student from the paid where exist. Okay, select from the enrolled where the enrolled dot student is equal to paid dot student. Which of the following statement is correct? So the given these queries. Okay, that is from 1 to 4. Okay, that is our questions. Which of the following statement is correct? Okay, the options are all the queries return the identical row set for the any database, and option B, the query 2 and query 4 return the identical row set for the all the database, but there exists the database for the which query 1 and then query 2 return the different row sets. Okay, the option 3, so there exists the database for which query 3 and return the fewer rows than the query 2. Okay, and next options D, so there exists the database for which the query 4 will encounter the integrity violations at the runtime. Okay, the answer is B, because the table, the first table is enrolled. In that table having a student and then course. Okay, and the next table is a paid. In that paid table having a student and then amount. Okay, next the output of the query 1, the query 1. So look at this query 1. Select the student from the enrolled where the student in. Select the student from the paid. Okay, first we have to select the student from the paid. Okay, after that we have to retrieve the student from the enrolled. Okay, so look at this output, that is output of the query 1 as ABC and then XYZ. Okay, and then output of the query 2, look at the query 2. So that is a select the student from the paid where the student in, select the student from the enrolled. So look at the braces first, that is a select the student from the enrolled. After that we have to retrieve the the student from the paid table. So from this the output as the output of the query 2, that is ABC and then XYZ. Okay, and next one is the query 3. So query 3, select the E student, E dot student, that is E object of the enrolled from the enrolled E and the paid P where E dot student is equal to P dot. So let's see the output of this query 3, that is the output of the query 3 is ABC and then XYZ. Okay, and the next one is the query 4. Okay, the select the student from the paid where exist, the select asterisk from the enrolled where the enrolled dot student is equal to paid student. Okay, for this we're getting the output as ABC and then XYZ. Okay, look at 3, that is 2 and 4. So we're getting the same answer. From 2 to 4, that is getting the same answer. Okay, the query 1 and query 3 may return the repetitive student's value as the student is not a key in a relation enrolled. Okay, however the query 2 and query 4 always return the same row sets. Okay, so that the option is B. So now option B is correct. see about the another question, that is consider the relation table with the single record for the each registered student with the following attributes. The question is, consider the relation table with a single record for the each registered student with the following attributes. So registration number, okay, that is a unique registration number for each registered student, and then 2, that is the UID, unique identity number, unique at the national level, and then 3, that is a bank account number, the unique account number at the bank. A student can have a multiple accounts or joint accounts. Okay, this attributes store the primary account number, and then number 4, the name of the student, and then 5, the hostel room, the room number of the hostels. Okay, these are the constraints are given in this question. So this is a constraint. Okay, so which of the following options are incorrect? Okay, the option is A. They given the option as the option A, the bank account number is candidate key, the register number can be a primary key, the UID is a candidate key. If all the students are from the same country, if the S is a super key such that the S intersection UID is a null, then S union UID is also a super key. The answer is A, because the candidate key value must uniquely identify the corresponding row in a table. The bank account number is not a candidate key. As per the question, the student can have a multiple accounts or joint accounts. This is the question they asked in a, okay. So this attributes store the primary account number. Okay, if two students have a joint account, if the joint account is there, the primary account, then the bank account number value cannot uniquely identify the row. Okay, is it clear now? The candidate key value must uniquely identify the corresponding row in a table. Okay, the bank account number is not a candidate key. As per the question, the student can have a multiple accounts or joint accounts. Okay, these attributes stores the primary account number. If a two students have a joint account, and if the joint account is their primary account, okay, then the bank account number value cannot uniquely identify the row. Okay, so that the answer is a A. So the bank account number is a candidate key. Okay, next question. The following table has a two attribute named as A and C, where the A is a primary key and then C is a foreign key. They're referencing the A with on a delete cascade. Okay, so they're asking the two attributes named as a and C. Okay, the A is a primary key. Primary key means that is a must contain a unique value and cannot contain the null value. So foreign key is a key that is used to link a two table together. The foreign key is a field in a one table that refer to the primary key in another table. Okay, so A and C they given, right? And the option, the set of the all the tuples that must be additionally deleted to preserve the referential integrity when the tuples 2, 4 is deleted. Okay, the options are 3, 4 and then 6, 4, and then option B, and then 5, 2 and then 7, 2, option D, option C, 5, 2 and then 7, 2 and then 9, 5, option D, 3, 4, 4, 3 and then 6, 4. The answer is C, because when the 2, 4 is deleted, okay, since the C is a foreign key referring the A with delete on the cascade. Okay, the C is a foreign key referring the A with a delete on the cascade. Okay, all the entries with the value 2 in the C must be deleted. So the 5, 2 and then 7, 2s are deleted. As the result of this 5 and 7s are deleted from A, which causes the 9, 5 to be deleted. Okay, is it clear now? When the 2, 4 is deleted, since the C is a foreign key means that is a used to link a two table together. Okay, that is a foreign key is a field in a one table that referred to the primary key in another table. So that the C is foreign key referring the A with the delete on the cascade. Okay, all entries with the value 2 in a C must be deleted. Okay, so the 5,2 and then 7,2 are deleted. Okay, as the result of this, 5 and 7 are deleted from A, which causes the 9,5 to be deleted. So that the answer is C. 5, 9. Next question. To include the integrity constraints in existing relations, use. Okay. Create table, modify table, alter table, and then drop table. Okay. So if you are using integrity constraints, it works on the alter table. Okay. The syntax of the alter table is the alter table table name. Okay, and add the constraints. Okay, alter table table name and add the constraints. Where the constraints can be any constraints on the relations. Where the constraints can be any constraints on the relations. So that the answer is a C. That is the alter table. To include the integrity constraints in the existing the relations. Okay, because they are asking the existing the relations. Okay, you already created the table. So creating the table, you have to you have to include the integrity constraint to the existing the table, so that we can call the alter table here. Okay. Next one is, which of the following is a not integrity constraints? Okay, if we are using an integrity constraint, we should know not null, unique, and check constraints. These are the constraints are used in the integrity constraints. We are not using the positive. Okay, we use the not null, unique, and then check. Okay, so that the answer is a positive. Okay, positive is value, it's not a constraint. Okay, so the not null is one of the constraint and the integrity constraint. Unique also one of the integrity constraint, and check also one of the integrity constraint. And next one is next question. The foreign key is the one in which dash of the one relation is referenced in the another relations. That is a primary key. Okay, I already told you know, when you are using a foreign key, that foreign key is a field in a one table that refer to the primary key in another table. So that the answer is a primary key. So, okay, when you are using a foreign key, the foreign key is a field in a one table that refer to the primary key in the another table. The foreign key declaration specifies that for each course tuple, and then the department name specified in the tuple must exist in a department relation. Okay, the option is B. Okay, and the correct option is B, because that is foreign key in a field in a one table that refer to the primary key in another table. Okay, next question is the create the table, and table name is course. Okay, then here they using the foreign key. The foreign key of the department reference department is another table. So reference the department. Which of the following is used to delete the entries in the reference table when it was deleted in the course table? Course is a one table, department is another table. Okay, so when you are using a foreign key, that does refer to the primary key in another table. Okay, so the option is B, because that is a delete cascade. So delete cascade to cause the relation, delete the tuple that refer to the department that was deleted. Okay, any doubts so far? If you have any doubt, ask me now. So in this session, we have seen that is SQL's integrities. So in that, so integrity means that is a data quality, and constraints is a conditions. Okay. So integrity constraints are set of the rules. It is used to maintain the quality of the information. Okay. So the integrity constraints used some keys, that is the database may have a number of integrity constraints, that is keys, not null, unique, check, and then default. So already these are already seen. Okay. Okay. Any doubts so far?